EDC CCW Rotation, guys. Should you have a carry rotation? My friend Hrfunk just did a video on it, and then Dick Fairburn did. So here's my thoughts, on the subject. I'm Dan the Wolfman. Why do I have a funny nickname? I'm a former pro MMA fighter, known martial artist, highest rated self-defense instructional on the world's biggest site called Combatives in Street Jiu-Jitsu. That's on BJJ Fanatics. Again, Combatives in Street Jiu-Jitsu, keeping concealed carry, multiple attackers, weapons in mind, which most martial artists don't really have the background like I do. Armed security, bounced since I was 18, world travels, interesting situations, etc. So, like everything in life, it kind of depends on your skill level, your background, your experience, okay? So, should you have an EDC rotation? It totally depends. If you're just starting out and you're brand new to pistols, it depends on the role. Whenever you're shopping for a pistol, what role does it fill? You got to also take in consideration your body type. I'm a very large guy, so I can conceal more than most tiny guys. Like 250 is different than 150 for a male or 110-pound female. Your work environment. Are you going to be carrying at work? How concealed do you need to be at work? Like, not illegal, but I'd get fired against policy, or like I'm in the South and it's cool, cops aren't going to be called, and my boss will probably shrug his shoulders if I get made a year into carrying. Okay, so it's like NPE versus NPE, non-permissive environment. How much does that matter? So what role is it fulfilling? So, a couple pistols here. So is it like I can discreetly carry this at work? Or I could carry it if I have good concealment methods, something like this. These are both micro 9mm shield. Do I need even smaller than that? Because I'm a small guy, even for pocket carry, like a micro 380, a bodyguard 2.0, or an LCP Max, or a friggin' J-frame, which I don't recommend, especially new people, or anyone for that matter. Or is it like, get a G19 clone, man, because you can do everything with it? Yeah, you can for about 6 months, and then you stop carrying. So that's not awesome. So if you're new to carry, you probably want to pick 2 pistols, make that 3. 2 pistols that have different roles. You're kind of more training larger gun, home defense gun, and like I can get away with work gun. Okay, that's probably maybe what you're looking for. And then I highly suggest, if you didn't shoot pistols your whole life, and really anyway, get a 22 long rifle pistol. The best now, even though I don't have one, would be a TX-22. I do have a different 22 long rifle pistol as a trainer. Why? Because training matters. Rounds downrange matter. Training is not slow target shooting 2 times a year. Training is timed standards, accuracy standards at known distances, or doing stuff like my 25-round realistic CCW test. Doing that a few times, at least once a month. If you're going to conceal carry, you should make it a priority to go out to dinner so I don't want to hear about money. Go out to dinner one last time a week and train at least once a month. I train almost every week, probably 46 to 48 times a year, shooting approximately 125, sometimes 150 rounds a range session and filming session. All these things matter. And 22 long rifle, if you're poor, you get a budget gun that's known to be reliable, and you get an event when you can, maybe 9mm because it's cheap, and then maybe a 22 long rifle trainer. If you shoot 150 rounds of 22 long rifle and then 25 rounds of 9mm versus just 50 rounds of 9mm, honestly, your skills were gonna get better more quickly. Okay. So size and weight. To me, at my age, weight of the pistol really matters. Micro 9s are known for, like, this is going to be pretty snappy for a lot of people. The Shield Plus, the Ruger Max 9 Pro, the Shield Plus, a little more shootable, very thin, pretty easy to conceal, especially if you're skinny and you don't have a gut, because I print a bit now that I'm getting a bigger gut. But if you're skinny, taller, like, you could carry appendix if you feel you're safe enough to do so, if you have experience. A lot of people like to start out like 334. I don't love that, but maybe in a work environment, a hybrid holster might do you good like that. So should you have a carry rotation? Kind of comes down to try to keep the same carry positions and the same action types. Okay, so you have striker fired, you have hammer fired, double action, single action, you have single action autos, sweeping the safety like a 1911 or high power. You have double action revolvers, things like that. You certainly have more. You have HKLEM, law enforcement module, like a light double action only, which is actually probably pretty good if you're going to go strictly with that, and things like that. So if you're just going to get like 2 striker fired guns to get you going, that's not a bad plan. So maybe you do even get like a G19 clone. I would probably, even though I don't have one, I would recommend the Ruger RXM. Everyone seems to report that doing really good, reliable, very budget friendly, but front night sight, everything you need, good to go. And maybe if you're new, I would actually go with a Micro 380, probably over a Micro 9 in that pocket size concealed work category, unless you're going to go a little bit bigger than a shield. Perhaps better than that is the totally forgotten about subcompacts, and I plan to do another video on that. I've always liked subcompacts. Old school subcompacts. In a Glock G19 format, it would be G26. That's a little small, 10 round, your pinky dangles unless you put a 12 round magazine or a Pierce grip extension or something. But a subcompact pistol, like an M&P 2.0 subcompact, or the old 9C Gen 1 Smith & Wessons. I just got a P10S, which you'll be seeing in some holster videos and stitch technique and stuff coming up. I really like it. It's a little heavy for what it is, but you know, a 12+1 gun, I can put a pinky extension on it, or better yet, a +2 base plate and make it 14+1, because I do have XL hands. But that's a really good like summer carry for me, and maybe you can get away with concealing that and just making a subcompactor gun. A subcompact is going to recoil a lot less. It's going to recoil more like a compact pistol than it is going to be a Micro 9. Micro 9s are snappy if you're not that experienced. The J-frame. Not a good idea to a beginner. And in general, I think it's not great if it's only 5 rounds of 38 special. I have a Taurus 856 ultralight. I put an Access night sight on it very easily. It's budget, and it's more shootable, has a better trigger, and everything. A slightly longer barrel, 2 inches instead of 1 7/8. Does much better. That's my pocket gun, backup gun. That or this are my backup guns, and this backup gun is on file with the state. So, and the 856 ultralight goes around the house with me all the time. So, in general, pick an action type. Now, I am very experienced because I shoot 125 rounds a week. I can probably blindfolded pick up a revolver, a DASA traditional, so a double action first shot, single action repetitive shots, and then I have to do a decocker or manually decock. DASA auto, or a striker fired gun. Like, I can just pick it up and I'm okay with it. Most people can't do that if they didn't grow up on revolvers, because revolvers are a little harder to shoot. That's why even if you don't carry a revolver, training with one makes you a better shooter by far. You can look at my skills now versus 2020. Like, a dramatic increase due to most of my own training and some other training, like Guess You SWAT school and active shooter training and things like that. So probably best for most people to pick an action type. Now, once you become more experienced, say after 2 years of carrying, when you become more experienced, if you train regularly, at least once a month, not twice a year, slow-ass target shooting, which isn't really training, if you become more experienced, then, like for me, I can carry any of them that don't have a manual safety, okay? Because it's just pull it and bang. And my body is just going to know what to do and handle the recoil and the trigger reset and everything. Now, certain revolvers you got to be careful with if you're a striker, fired, fast shooter, riding the reset, because some revolvers have a false reset and they lock up pretty far out until all the way out. Looking at you, Colt, at least with not the Pythons or the Anacondas, but with the Cobras and the King Cobras, it locks up pretty hard. LCRs are also known for that. So older Smith & Wessons tended not to, Rugers tend not to, but you do have to be a little aware of that, so that can mess you up. But I'm where I can just draw and I can shoot, and that's fine between the different action types. The only thing I worry about is if on the way home I carry a 1911 occasionally, like if that's what I'm doing that day is 1911 and high powers, because I don't carry it all the time. That is not a EDC. Now, Have I carried it home from the range? Yes. Am I reminding myself what I'm carrying before I exit that door in a transitional space that I got to swipe the safety? Yes. And I might even train myself that all my draws now are swiping down because I have a GX2, which is a little small for my hands. And to open up the space for my support hand, I got to lift that over the safety, but I actually use it as a leverage point, like a accelerator pedal, but with the primary hand. That can steer your shots opposite side, so right-handed shooter to the left. But I might even train myself eventually, so like that's not even a worry. But I'm more experienced, and I train more often. So all the what-ifing on the internet, that stuff doesn't matter. What matters is actually training. I was a professional fighter. I would train 4 days a week for 3.5 hours a day. Not maybe once a week for an hour, YMCA. Those are very different things, right? And so you should take your firearms training seriously because there's a lot of liability involved in CCW. So maybe a beginner does get something like this end of the spectrum and this end of the spectrum. That doesn't mean you always carry this, or worse, guys are going now. My Bodyguard 2.0 is my everyday carry. Why? Because it's so easy. If there's 3 guys in armed robbery and they start shooting people and you're trapped inside a store, you're going to want this a heck of a lot more than a micro 380. Bigger 380s I'm down with for summertime because of hollow point, longer barrel length, velocity, hollow point expansion. I think bigger 380s are okay. Like I have bigger 380s, 3.5 or longer barrels to get hollow point expansion through maybe this and undershirt. Wintertime from a friggin' little LCP Max pocket pistol, Bodyguard 2.0, no. So the problem is people will then do the Bodyguard and they stop carrying this. So, but if you do this and this, something like that's okay. Or if you go, well, I can only afford one, I'm going to go in the middle. You go in the middle with the Shield Plus, something like this micro size, if you have to, depending on your body type for carry. Me, I can conceal carry a macro size. So instead of a micro and a macro are like 1-inch thick guns versus typical 1.3-inch thick guns. So it's about the thickness and thinness, okay? And the lower the weight pistol, the more recoil there is. It's just physics, guys. Most people are much better if you can go with one of those traditional subcompact, like 12-round pistols with a 3.5-inch, 3.6-inch barrel. You can handle that recoil much better. Same thing with a macro is instead of these, is about 3.7, like an Axe macro. I have a GX4 carry. I carry it a lot. My rotation each year is actually, there's maybe a couple duty pistols, there's a couple pocket pistols, this and my 8.56 ultralight. But my main belt guns, I call them, my belt guns, I pick 4 or 5 for the year. Basically 4. And I tend to go with a 40 if it's sub 33 degrees freezing, because I still think 40 is energetic cartridge. It's not going to shrink. And I tend to think, other than HSTs and 9mm, which are awesome, 124 plus P HSTs, and you can see Gun Sam doing a lot of heavy winter clothing tests. 40 is good in the winter, so occasionally I will break out a 40. But yes, I actually carry, just because 40s and 45s don't have enough capacity for my purposes. There's not a lot of options that are at least 10 plus 1 and under 35 ounces. I prefer a 28 to 31 ounce carry, with whether it's dot or not, and that means subcompacts, or it means macro size. So that might fit your purpose, or doing the two-tone. I'm going to get like a G19 clone, probably, you know, if you're budget, looking at a Ruger RXM maybe, is probably what I recommend. And then maybe you're going a Micro 9, one of the new pocket 380s, high capacity 380s, for like work purposes. I get that. So it totally depends on your needs. So if you're beginning out the first 2 years, maybe you have 2. Because maybe this is actually winter and home defense, and then this is work. But if you're going out on a Friday, Saturday night, carry that G19. If you can get away with just one, concealed everywhere, a subcompact or a macro is better than the micro or the pocket pistol to kind of do everything. So subcompacts are slept on. I hope this helped you out. You should probably stick with the same trigger type in your first couple years. And a 2 is maybe an EDC rotation, and maybe a 22 long rifle trainer, because it's all about training and skills. It's not about gear. It's about training regularly to standards, on a timer, to accuracy standards, and getting skills. Look at my 25-round realistic CCW test. And once you're past a couple of years and you're more experienced, then as long as it's just pull the gun and go bang, I can get away with whether it's DASA, whether it's striker fired, whether it's a revolver. I just know if it's in my hands, and if I was stressed in a DGU, I just got to look at it and go, take some deep combat breathing, slow it down, go to SUL position. If I know I'm not aimed in anymore, scan, make sure I'm good, and then like, oh yeah, decock, safely reholster. Never be quick to reholster, guys. And there's some advice for you on an EDC carry rotation. Inexperienced, you can probably get away with 2, probably the same action type. Very experienced like me, I can pick out each year about 4, maybe 5. Really, like right now I got 4 in some videos. Will probably come out way in the future. But yeah, striker fired 9s. I got 2 striker fired 9s without, iron sights, night sights kind of thing. And I have 2 with dots on them. Because I've gotten to the level where I am equal now, and it doesn't matter. I just do whatever because I train frequently. So that's what it's all about. Please let me know what you think below. So like a lot of guys will be like, well, I got a G19 and a G26 and a 43X. Okay, Glock fanboys. That's one way of going at it. Fairly similar operating system. Like you're okay. They're all striker fired. So hopefully this made a bit of sense. If you want to feel safer, like it depends. If you carry something in the beginning phases, you really want an external safety, which I actually don't recommend because you stupidly rely on that instead of your brain and the 4 main firearm safety rules. But if you do, then everything should in your beginning phase. Or if you're doing DASA because you like to put your thumb on the back of the hammer while you're reholstering and you feel safer with that long double action first trigger pull, that's okay. Beginners are going to have a problem doing striker fired gun or revolver typically though. But once you get more experience, pull the trigger, it goes bang, that's cool. Or I'm only going to, when I'm an older FUD, only going to do 1911 Commanders and 2011s and my modified high power where I have to sweep off that thumb safety. Hopefully that made sense. Think about your needs and limit it to 2 to like 4. If you're only training, making your excuses only 4 times a year, 4 times a year, limit it to 2. If you're training at least once a month and you've already been doing this for a little while, then maybe you can open it up, pick maybe 4 for the year. But hopefully I made my points. Please thumbs up, share, subscribe, comment down below. I hope you appreciated this. Go check out Hrfunk and Dick Fairburn's take on it. Carry position, that's also important. I've gone back and forth between 3 o'clock outside waistband, appendix, 3 o'clock outside waistband, and appendix outside the waistband is how I carry my primary when I'm not on duty. On duty, my hand knows where to go because I got a big lunchbox, level 2 or level 3, on my hip. And then I do weak side front pocket for the backup gun. So it's always this and this, or it's this and this. Try not to change it up. Have program compliance, as my friend Kentucky Patriot and Paul Harrell would say. Okay. Thank you guys, and I'll catch you on the flip side.